DNS explains how the internet finds websites. Every time you open a website into your browser, something happens almost instantly. You type a name like google.com, press enter, and within seconds the website appears. It feels simple, it feels automatic, but behind that simple action is one of the most important systems on the internet. That system is called DNS. DNS stands for Domain Name System, and without it, the internet as we know it would be almost impossible to use. Because computers do not really understand names like google.com, youtube.com, or opinia.com. Computers communicate using IP addresses, so somehow the human-friendly name has to be translated into a machine-friendly address. That is exactly what DNS does. In this video I will explain DNS simply, step by step. We will look at what DNS is, why it exists, how DNS lookup works, what the DNS server does, why DNS matters for speed and reliability, and what happens when DNS fails. So if you ever wondered how the internet finds websites, this is the video for you. Let's begin. What problem does DNS solve? To understand DNS, we need to understand the problem it solves. Imagine for a moment that DNS did not exist. If you wanted to visit a website, you would need to type the IP address directly into your browser. Not a name like google.com, but something like 142.250.190.14. That's not practical. Now imagine trying to remember the IP addresses of Google, YouTube, Wikipedia, your bank, your email provider, your school website, your cloud storage. That would be a nightmare. Humans are good at remembering names. Computers are good at working with numbers. So the internet needed a system that could connect those two worlds. A system that says, this human readable name belongs to this numerical IP address. That system is DNS. So in very simple words, DNS is a phone book of the internet. You ask for a name, DNS gives you the address. That's the core ID. What is a domain name? Before we go deeper into DNS, let's quickly talk about domain names. A domain name is the name you type into your browser. Examples are google.com, youtube.com, wikipedia.org, opinia.com. These names are easier for humans to remember than IP addresses. A full domain name is structured in parts. Take this example, www.google.com. Here, com is the top level domain. Google is the second level domain. www is a subdomain. You do not always need the www, but it helps to show that names can have levels. DNS works by organizing information in a hierarchy, and that hierarchy matters, because DNS is not just one big flat database, it is a distributed system with layers that makes it scalable, that makes it global, and that is one reason that the internet can grow so large. What is an IP address? DNS connects domain names to IP addresses, so let's also define what an IP address is. An IP address is a numerical identifier used to locate the device or service on the network. In IPv4, an address looks like this, 192.168.1.1, or on the public internet, something like 8.8.8.8. In IPv6, addresses are much longer. For example, 2001:4860:4860:8888. An IP address tells your device where to send traffic. So if DNS gives your computer the correct IP address for a website, your computer then knows where that website lives on the network, not in a physical map sense, but in a network routing sense. DNS does not deliver the website itself. It only helps your device find the correct destination. That destination is important. DNS answers the question, where should I go? After that, other protocols take over. DNS in one sentence. If I had to explain DNS in one sentence, I would say DNS translates domain names into IP addresses so devices can find websites and services on the internet. That is the function. But how does it actually happen? Let's walk through the process step by step. What happens when you type a website name? Imagine you open a browser and type youtube.com, what happens next? A lot more than most people realize. Step 1. Your computer checks whether it already knows the answer. It may check the browser cache, the operating system cache, maybe even a local host file. If the answer is already known, the process is very fast. No need to ask outside. But if your device does not know the IP address, then it sends a DNS query to a DNS resolver. That resolver is usually provided by your ISP, a public DNS service like Google DNS, Cloudflare DNS, or not the DNS provider. The resolver's job is to find the answer for you, and if it does not already know the answer, it begins asking other DNS servers. This is where the process becomes interesting. Recursive resolver explained. The recursive resolver is like your internet assistant. You ask it one question. What is the IP address of youtube.com? And instead of telling you to go ask 10 different systems yourself, it doesn't work for you. That is why it's called a recursive resolver. It takes your request and follows the chain until it gets an answer. Then it returns that answer to your device. So the computer usually does not go directly to the root DNS or the authoritative server. It asks the resolver. This makes the process simpler for the client. Now let's see who the resolver talks to. Root server, TLD service, authoritative service. DNS is hierarchical. That means informative. Information is organized in layers. When the resolver does not know the answer, it may follow something like this path. First, the root server. The root server is at the top of the DNS hierarchy. It does not usually know the final IP address of youtube.com, but it does know where to point the resolver next. So it might say, I do not have the final answer, but for .com domains, go ask the .com TLD service. Second, the TLD service. TLD stands for top level domain. Examples include .com, .org, .net, .edu, .country domain names like BE, FR, NL. The TLD server for .com does not necessarily know the final IP either, but it knows which authoritative DNS servers are responsible for youtube.com. So it says, for youtube.com, go ask these authoritative name servers. Third, the authoritative server. This is the server that holds the actual DNS records for the domain. This server can finally answer the question. It can say the IP address for youtube.com is this. That answer then goes back to the resolver. The resolver returns it to your device, and your browser can now contact the website. That is the basic DNS lookup process. DNS records explained. DNS does not just store one type of information, it uses records. A DNS record is a piece of information stored in DNS. Here are a few important ones. A record. This maps a domain name to an IPv4 address. Example, example.com 93:184.216.34 4 times a record. This maps the domain name to an IPv6 address. CNAME record. This points one name to another name. For example, www.example.com. Example.com. MX record. This tells mail service where email for a domain should go. NS record. This identifies the name service responsible for domain. TXT record. This stores text information often used for verification, email security, and other services. So DNS is not just about websites. It is also used for email verification, service discovery, and much more. That makes DNS one of the Internet's most foundational systems. DNS caching. DNS would be too slow if every lookup had to start from the root every time. That's why caching exists. Caching means storing the answer for a period of time so it can be reused. If your device or resolver already knows the answer for a domain, it can respond much faster. This saves time, it reduces traffic, it lowers the load on DNS infrastructure. Each DNS record usually has something called a TTL. TTL means time to live. This tells systems how long they are allowed to keep the answer in cache. For example, if a record has a TTL of 300 seconds, that means the answer can be cached for 5 minutes. After that, it must be checked again. Caching is one reason many websites load quickly after the first visit. Your system may already know where to go. Why DNS speed matters. DNS is usually very fast, but even small delays, because so if DNS, but even small delays matters, because DNS often happens before your browser can start loading the site. So if DNS is slow, the whole experience feels slow. This is why some people switch to public DNS providers like 8.8.8.8 from Google, 1.1.1 from Cloudflare. The idea is that fast resolver can reduce the lookup time. Now, DNS speed alone will not magically make everything fast. Website performance also depends on many other factors, but DNS is still part of the path. If an resolution is slow, the request cannot move forward efficiently. So DNS is not just about correctness, it's also about speed. What happens if DNS fails? DNS failures can be surprisingly dramatic. If DNS breaks, websites may look they disappeared from the internet, but often the websites are still online. You cannot find them by name. That is a huge difference. Think about it like this. The building still exists, but the address book is broken. So what happens when DNS fails? You may see server not found. DNS address could not be found. Websites refuse to load. Email delivery problems. Apps failing to connect to services. A DNS outage can affect businesses, users, apps, cloud services, email systems. And because so many systems depend on DNS, even a short issue can have a wide impact. This is why DNS reliability is critical. Local DNS versus public DNS. Who answers your DNS queries? Often your home network uses DNS from your internet provider, but you can also use public DNS services. Common public DNS services include Google DNS, Cloudflare DNS, Quad9. Why do people change DNS providers? Usually for one or more of these reasons: speed, privacy, filtering, security, reliability. For example, some DNS providers block known malicious domains that can add a security benefit. Others focus on privacy and do not want to retain as much user data. Others focus on raw speed and global performance. So DNS is not just one universal service, there are choices in how you resolve names. DNS and cybersecurity. DNS is also important in cybersecurity. Because DNS tells devices where to go. Attackers sometimes try to abuse it or manipulate it. Here are some examples. DNS spoofing. A fake DNS answer is given so a victim goes to the wrong IP address. DNS poisoning. Bad DNS data gets inserted into cache, causing incorrect redirection. Malicious domains. Attackers may use DNS to direct users to phishing sites or malware infrastructure. Data exfiltration. Sometimes DNS can even be abused to move data in unusual ways. So DNS is not just a convenient system, it is also a security topic. That is why secure DNS practices matter. And that is why IT professionals often pay close attention to DNS behavior. If DNS is wrong, users may be sent to the wrong place, and that is dangerous. DNS in everyday life. Let's make this very practical. DNS is used every day when you open websites, stream videos, use email, log into cloud services, use mobile apps, connect smart devices, use online games, call APIs. Most people never think about it. And that is actually a sign that DNS is working well. Good DNS is invisible. You type a name, it works. But behind the scenes, DNS is one of the most active systems supporting modern internet use. So even though DNS feels abstract, it affects almost everything connected to the internet. Simple analogy, DNS as a phone book. Let's make the ID even simpler. Imagine you want to call something, you know their name, but you do not their phone number. So you look up the name in the phone book. The phone book gives you the number. DNS works in a very similar way. You know the website name, youtube.com. DNS gives you the numerical address. That is why people so often call DNS the Internet's phone book. It is not the perfect analogy, but it is a very useful one, because it shows the main function clearly, name to address translation. Does DNS store websites? A common misunderstanding is that DNS somehow contains the website itself. It does not. DNS does not store the web page, the images, the videos, or the content. DNS only helps the device locate the destination. After DNS gives you the IP address, your browser uses other protocols such as TCP, DLS, HTTP, or HTTPS. Those protocols handle the actual communication and content delivery. So DNS is like the beginning of the journey, not the full journey. It helps you find the right place, then the rest of the internet stack takes over. Why DNS is distributed? DNS is distributed for a reason. Imagine if all DNS information on Earth was stored on one central server. That would be slow, fragile, easy to overload, and easy to break. Instead, DNS distributes across many systems, organizations, and servers. This makes it scalable, resilient, efficient, global. The root, TLD, and authoritative layers all help this shared responsibility. Resolvers and caches also help reduce repeated work. This design is one reason DNS can serve billions of requests across the world. So DNS is not just clever in purpose, it is clever in architecture. I'm going to quit this now. I'm going to pause this. The next half is going to come later. Let's make it a part 2 of it. In the meantime, if you like this video, give a like. If you want to follow me, subscribe.